a professional with over 10 years of experience in the tourism industry, an individual who has primarily worked as a tour operator and hotelier. Senal Nugavella has worked in both inbound and outbound businesses. He has also partaken in many international travel fairs as a professional, while constantly observing patterns in the travel and tourism sector. How, in your opinion, Senal, has COVID-19 impacted global travel trends?
Well, that's a big topic when you straightforwardly when you ask that, because there are a lot of changes. Gradual travel trends have been changing post-COVID, or the time that we are talking now. Main global travel trend that I would see is that the surge of staycation. Well, for those who don't know what a staycation is a vacation spent in one's home country rather than abroad, or one spent at home involved in day trips to local attractions. So surge of staycations have been even we are in the travel trade. We sometimes used to travel earlier this year. We traveled to Negombo out of Colombo. We traveled because rather than spending, due to the fact that we can't travel abroad, we used to, most of the people, even my friends, a lot of people, they used to travel within the country, domestic travelers. So rise in domestic travelers, as well as passport free holidays. That's also more of a domestic traveler way of visiting. And as a fact, actually in 2019, even before the COVID-19 pandemic started in late 2019, domestic tourism in England have contributed to over 80 billion to the economy. Yeah. So that's a larger component even compared to Sri Lankan international business. So traveling within continents, then again, another surge that I see, traveling within continents, you can say short haul. Then again, short haul means up to 2 hours of flying times. Then again, you have the mid haul, which is 2 to 5, and long haul, which is over 6 hours, over 5 hours. Then ultra long haul above 12 hours. So rising short haul holidays, less time spent on traveling, and it is somewhat safe because you spend very less time. Maybe you take a train within Europe or within continents. So that's something that I see as a trend, another trend. And then again, recently Green Pass, Italy launched a digital COVID-19 certificate called Green Pass. It's a digital certification. So these kind of technology coming into travel is also a change, a pattern that we see, because more or less, I mean, even we do this Zoom meeting over a laptop, anyone can do it over the phone. So the technology is picking up very much. So it has also helped the travel industry as well. And the travel bubble concept, that is agree to open their borders. Travel bubble means two countries agreeing to open their borders to each other, keeping the borders close to other countries, so that people can move within the bubble but not outside. So
Senal, if I may ask you a question, does that only apply to tourism, or people coming over to work as well?
Even for any, so if you take a cricket team, recently Sri Lanka cricket team toured England. They were under a travel bubble. So that not only for tourists, that is any even games. The games, it would be applied to any sports events also, not only to tourism. It's a good way forward. As in, we had the bubble concept in December 2020, and in January we had the bio bubble plan ramped up, which saw the total tourists up to 8th of July, a number of 70,642 up to July 8th, since the opening of the airport in January. So under the travel bubble concept, and which is actually, I also have the numbers which have been tested positive out of that country. Began a vaccination process for the tourism sector, individual staff, professionals.
You mean
which
Sri
is
Lanka? Sri Lanka.
yes, in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I'm just adding up to it because it
Okay.
goes with the biobubble concept.
Yeah.
To hotel staff, guides and drivers, safari guide drivers. So they have been, taken care of a couple of days back in Hambantota it started. And so basically, the government has pledging that by the end of 2021, their aim is to make Sri Lanka a COVID-free country.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, and it's mainly that the fact that because it is very important that it is taken care of, because the international, I will come to that later on, maybe I can touch on that later on another subject.
Yeah.
And coming back to the vaccination, I want to mention a special note to the drivers and chauffeur guides here, who are a very important part in our business, because they are the face of our business. Even we do at work, at office, they are the people who meet the customer hands-on, firsthand, and taking a risk even with their families, and going and doing the tour. So it's a big applaud to the government for initiating a vaccination program for the tourist sector.
So the next question it relates to that very much. How would we find service providers to meet customer demands going forward?
I see that the client will be somewhat more demanding compared with pre-COVID period, because they had more than a year's time to plan their next trip after the COVID has been taken care of. So they would be somewhat demanding, and it is very important we as tour operators and hotel staff, everyone from the time that the chauffeur guide meets the customer client at the airport until they have been dropped off at the airport, it's very important the entire chain to be on their toes, because the client will be somewhat more demanding, and we need to attend to it with all hands on. And the existing booking patterns will remain same as to what I believe, and booking via tour operators, booking engines such as Booking.com, Airbnbs, Expedia, Agoda, those what is available, that would be there. And mainly there will be very
booking via these platforms and such. That happens already, right? So, and
yes,
what you're saying is, due to COVID, they would have to go through like maybe a medical procedure or such, right? So a more complicated, a procedure that has more steps.
The protocols, the health guidelines which are available and which have to be followed will have to be followed anyway. What I meant was picking their holiday destinations and their specific locations they want to travel in a country. Those kind of things will be very specific and demanding, that because there's a lot that because I mean, what I see is that there was a new beginning in the world post COVID. At least even the COVID has been completely handled with. There was a new beginning in the world, and there's a lot of changes happening. So because of that, what I believe is that they will be very specific and very, very demanding with what they want, and booking through a tour operator will continue in a large scale, because whoever who book through a booking engine, Booking.com, and book a taxi separately, rather than that they can book through a tour operator or a DMC, which is called a destination management company, would take care of their entire holiday. They have nothing to worry. They can just put their holiday hat on and just travel around. So it's very important reiterating that it is a very important fact that tour operators like us need to be on their toes, need to be on our toes and meet the client requirement, and give them an experience which they will never forget, and make them as repeat customers to travel again.
What other changes do you find in the global travel trends? I mean, something different from what we had
Yes,
before
yes,
COVID-19.
I see some difference, because in an era where social distancing has become somewhat a norm,
Yeah.
the nature breaks can become more appealing to customers, because in Sri Lanka even there are places where the privacy, the secluded places in the island where will be in high demand, because due to the social distancing. Client will look for many places without crowds. So popular beaches, large hotels, busy cities might be on low on the wish list, and they would be thinking more about private villas, boats, boutique hotels, as well as quiet mountain range and rural locations, because of the social distancing current happening around. So and not to mention that helicopter ride, because when you travel by air, you skip all of these. You take take away straight away a quick journey. You spend less time on the road, and you take a helicopter ride for those who can afford, of course. But that would be also, helicopter rides will also be a factor that people can take, or even we have air taxi services. Those will be also on high demand.
So you said we, as in this affects Sri Lanka as well, right? So whomever, like the type of person we had coming to Sri Lanka, the type of tourist, or rather the kind of tourist, would look for these things as well, right? Because Sri Lanka has been affected by COVID just as any other country.
Making for Sri Lanka, how this would be, this would affect is that, well, Sri Lanka comparatively, Charita, small in dimension, so it's somewhat difficult to roam freely without encountering another, right? Saying that there are hotels or villas situated with utmost privacy, adhering to guidelines, social distancing. So actually, I know a lot of properties. There are a lot of properties, secluded properties, outskirts of Colombo, which will be in high demand, where they can go there and spend with their partner, family, or friend, and spend some time together. And that will be on high demand, because mainly due to the being of social distancing and the privacy factor. And well, what I think is that Sri Lanka as a country should continue to maintain its reputation handling the pandemic well. We have done well, especially in South Asia, and compared to some other countries, we have been doing well, and hopefully we continue to do that, because we are in an era where the customer do their research, and not to mention that they read out reviews, comments mentioned on social media, and TripAdvisor, similar website. Hence, it is very important that we as a country should maintain our stance as well-handled COVID country, where handled well with regard to the pandemic. We are at a time where India keeps a close eye on us. Hence, it is important that we act in a way that foreign media are favorable to us with regard to battling the pandemic, because they keep a eye on us. Recently, I even saw information on social media. India have been speaking about Sri Lanka, so we should have a green light. We should give a impact towards the industry, where we have a green light, where people are it's favorable to us, where people can easily travel to us. Even we have a pandemic, a country where handled well. And one more thing I need to add, with the pandemic, I see, Charita, that there's a demand for Ayurveda and Hela Vedakama, which is herbal, because Sri Lanka is very popular for that. We have properties with Ayurveda regard, and Hela Vedakama, the herbal related properties. So it will be on a demand as well, because based on a pandemic, in somewhat it would struck someone's mind saying Ayurveda and Ayurveda, see, let's go and check it out. So it would be as well on the maybe a bucket list if someone wants to visit Sri Lanka, would be highlighted based on that, which I see.
Going off that, right? What are other things that specifically Sri Lanka, given we are a developing country in South Asia and an island, can do to deal with the changes that have come about, the changes that you described that have come about due to COVID?
Well, we as a country, as a whole, we need to take care of this situation, because it's not only somewhat can put their finger on only on the travel trade individuals or other travel trade professionals. Is the entire public should take care of and do their each part, do somewhat part and contribute to its cause, because the perks are not only to the travel industry professionals, it's for the entire country. I mean, Sri Lanka prior to COVID-19 was the third largest source of income generated to the national economy in Sri Lanka. And in 2018, before the Easter Sunday attack, we welcomed 2.3 million tourists to the country. And in 2019, we had 1.9 million tourists. And as a revenue, 4.5 billion in 2018 and 3.5 in 2019. So it's a massive industry. Top three, the very gentleman who sells king coconut on the road, everyone is included in this effort to bring back to life, because it's a collective effort. As I said, the country is struggling mainly due to tourism sector is not performing currently. I mean, we understand when I travel around, everyone is down, and everyone, when I used to, when I go to coffee lounges and coffee shops, I used to talk to people to get to know their opinion. Everyone is saying.
So, Sinal, you said that you go to these places and you talk to people who are in the industry, right? So what advice would you give to professionals, travel and tourism professionals in the industry?
I say, Charita, if we are to compete with other on-par destinations, it's a higher effort that we need to make from the front line to back office. Everyone should be well structured. Everyone should be educated well. And I see this time is an optimal opportunity to educate oneself, to educate someone's. They can do some online courses, online programs, learning, observing, and improving their knowledge about the field, because it's very important that you know what you are doing, and that apply to everyone. That particular chauffeur or a front office executives at a hotel. It is people that bring. It is the people that bring the magic out of the industry. So it is very important that everyone is being educated well and being professional. If we say a sport, a professional athlete. If we say tourism, we need professionals in the industry. Those who do their thing right. I mean, it makes everyone's job easier. As for an example, if we take a chauffeur guide, if that particular person does it well, then we get a good feedback about the country, and that particular customer will return back to the country and give a good recommendation. So everyone should do their part, and this is an optimum opportunity to educate yourself, learn, get whatever the license you need, learn thoroughly, improve your knowledge. And I emphasize that it's a collective effort.
Maybe like over 60%. I'm not very clear about the figure, but of the industries is owned by the government, right? So so Sri Lanka, maybe things are a little different from everywhere else because of that. And if you could actually speak to the government directly, right? What would you say to the government? Because in a country
I would straightforwardly would like to say that a message to the government well, before His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the President of Sri Lanka, came into power in 2019, his target was to achieve US $10 billion in revenue in tourism as a revenue as receipt, US $10 billion, right? So that was the target, but for obvious reasons, it cannot be, it was not able at least a couple of years because of the pandemic. So it was estimated by about arrival wise 5.6 to 6 million arrivals in order to achieve that US $10 billion. So what I like to say to the government is that hence it's an industry, it's a very important industry, and we are at a very big juncture here. So we need to look after, the government needs to look after the professionals in the industry. It could be, I mean, I understand that the government has already offered some concessionary rates, and the banks have done some, done some part of it, and banks have been advised. But at least whatever the aid provided currently should be at least continued until the end of the year, this year. Okay. So because what I think is that COVID coming into tourism, travel trade, tourism coming back to pre-COVID state, it will take about at least 2 years. Things will start moving by this year, but for a government to look after their people, especially industry professionals, they need to give more concession rate until the end of the year, because at the end of the day, if you look after them, unless they will leave the trade and move to another, so you need to look after them and take care of them. So hopefully we can for sure we can achieve US $10 billion.